Welcome to Orbitals, an astrology podcast. I'm your host, William Holloway, and today's show is all about the astrology of the one and only Madonna. With me to discuss and dissect is my friend and astrologer, Tasha Beg, the Pop Astrologist. Welcome back.
Oh my God, thanks for having me. So excited to continue our chat.
The ongoing saga of Madonna's rising sign.
Still coming into question right now, but it's okay.
A little close. Yeah, I feel I have a stronger opinion about it for sure. And then, of course, we also have Joseph Mulhollen, aka Glorian, co-host of Astrology of the Unknown, and my good friend and musician and longtime Madonna fan knower.
Yeah. I grew up listening to her. I was born in 1980, so I was born before Madonna. I mean, so were you. Well, born before Madonna was even on the radar. So we kind of grew up with her.
Yeah, totally. I'm as some of my earliest memories. I mean, she was just starting to be a thing when I was getting into the radio and learning how to press record on the little cassette.
Yep.
You would record the radio off on tapes,
Oh yeah. The weekly top 40.
Yeah. Love it.
I was gonna say Joe's like the subject matter expert, I
Yeah.
feel I feel humbled to be a part of this conversation because I am in the post Madonna born era. So it's a different relationship with her, not in the same way, of course, but I've always thought that she was so instrumental or integral as a culture builder. She is culture in itself. And so it's cool to see and hear your perspectives as people who've seen her before she rose to success. I've only ever known her as Madonna.
Right.
You knew her as she was ascending to Madonna status. Honestly, I'm just so excited to get into this conversation this weekend. Happy, well, not the 4th. Happy Madonna release day. Happy
Oh yeah, it's Madonna
day.
release day. The new album came out today or at midnight. Like I was saying earlier, this has kind of been a continuing conversation between me and Tasha. I was on her podcast, I don't know, a few weeks ago, or a month ago, maybe even, and we were trying to settle, the ongoing thing that astrologers have been trying to figure out, which is Madonna a Virgo rising or is she an Aquarius rising? And the reason why this is a question is, if you look it up, if you look up her chart, the chart that has a rating is the Virgo rising chart. And the story behind the Virgo rising chart apparently is that there was some astrologer that worked in a doctor's office in LA and
dangerous.
A foot doctor. Yeah.
Dangerous.
It was a foot doctor or something. And one of the patients was Madonna's dad. And she was like, this is my moment. And so she straight up asked him, what time was Madonna born? And he apparently didn't take him too long to be like, it was this time. And so that's been the basis for why, online anyway, it's that she's a Virgo rising. But Madonna for 20, 30 years has been saying that she's an Aquarius rising, which I used to say oh, that's wishful thinking. That's what she wants us to think she is, which I've kind of come back around to. So I went through this whole process of she's an Aquarius rising. She has to be an Aquarius rising, right? I started reading this book, A Rebel Life. I mean, Aquarius rising.
Yeah.
And I think it's pretty clear that the Virgo rising chart just makes more sense. In the astrology, and after reading half this book, it's not that I didn't know anything about Madonna, but I was kind of I reintroduced myself, and I also listened to a 20-hour podcast. I mean, there's so many parts on her life. I listened to the whole thing.
Wow.
And that woman is a Virgo rising. There's no way she's an Aquarius rising. So we're not even going to entertain that today. We are going with the Virgo rising chart.
That's what I would assume.
Yeah. Just watching the promo tour and she was on, did that interview with Graham Norton. And I always say you can really tell a person's rising sign by just little things they say, Kylie Minogue was there. Kylie wanted to show her that she had the first Madonna record, and that she, this was like the record in her house, and her sister played all the time. So she's like handed to her. I think she wanted Madonna to sign it. I think that's
Oh
what she
my
wanted.
God.
But Madonna takes it and she looks at it, and it's the cover of the first Madonna album where she's like this or something, and she was like, "God, I look like I have a headache." And then she turns it over and she goes, "Oh, am I choking myself?" Because she's got it's just so Virgo, right? Like criticizing, like it's oh, I look like I have a headache. I don't know, just like kind of negative, kind of criticizing, noticing the weird details. And then she like sees herself in the mirror and she's got like the shoulder pads in this outfit she's wearing. And she's like, I look like the 80s. I look like like one of those dynasty women. And just that's a Virgo rising.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, like I sometimes think about when she does these like really dramatic physical transformations, like that there was like that one part, I forget what era it was, where she was just so physical, like so fit, and she's like literally doing push-ups on stage, or like she like in a whole workout routine on stage, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I'm like, oh my God, like that, I mean, like that's so Virgo to me, low-key sometimes
Yeah.
too. But yeah, it makes
with
sense.
all that stuff in the first house, health being so important, and like kind of like almost mixing health routine with music. Like I think about like, this album, she was like, this is an album you can like exercise to. Like she wants people to be healthy, she wants people to exercise. And like, I mean, I've probably lost more weight to her music than any other artist. Or think about it. All the running I've done over the years, like, she's good running music.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. Honestly, I did not get through the whole album today, last night, this morning. I did
Yeah.
get through half of the album. And as I finished it, I was like, wow, I could go to a club in Brooklyn right now. Like I would absolutely want to go to a club in Brooklyn right now. And I just would want to like vibe with people. Like it totally transports you into a different place. And it's like, and it's so incredible, that she at this age is still putting out music that is so like that moves something in you, like that makes you actually do want to get out on the dance floor.
Yeah.
So I think that's like a Mars Uranus in of itself. Like she's subverting pop star expectations at this age.
Yes.
Incredible.
I mean,
I
now everybody can make a perfect album in their late 60s. Before, it wasn't heard of. Now you can, because she just did it.
I'm curious to know like what because I feel like anytime she goes back to dance music or the dance floor, she finds success, and she always puts out something good. So I'm wondering like what that's about with her. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
That's such a good question.
Yeah. Let's think about that. That is something I've been kind of thinking about too. I'm like, what is the connection? Like, why is it that is the thing, right?
I mean, to be honest, and will I come back to this, I immediately think of that Virgo rise and Leo 12th house. Like, I think this is a beautiful testament to what 12th house placements can do.
Yeah.
And when you think about Leo, there's so much about joy and celebration. And there, when you think about the 12th house, it's also a very spiritual house, and the dance floor is like church. Yeah. So I kind of feel like she is like a priestess summoning people back to church, and the dance floor happens to be her container for that.
Very
Yeah.
Venus and Leo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
it's obvious that it's something she's conscious of. Otherwise, she wouldn't have done Confessions 2 like more than 20 years after she put out the first Confession. You know what I mean? It just like, it seems like such a, like that idea seems so random. You're just, but like, obviously there was thought put into it. And like, that's something that she wanted to come back to, because I don't know, I feel like there's just something inherent about Madonna's relationship to music that is inspired by movement and dance. So yeah, that's something that like I would like to look at possibly.
Yeah.
Wow.
Totally.
I think Will and I had talked about, I think this was something we found out in our like research in the episode, what you, her Mars in Taurus, I think. She had released Confessions 1, or the first Confessions album, when Mars was retrograde in Taurus. And so there is this, and to me, when I think about Taurus, I think about artistry, I think about the physical body, I think about animal instinct, and I kind of think about that instinctual type of artist nature
Yes.
who get called into a direction, like an inspired direction, and then decides that's what I want to do. And I kind of love that Taurus is also so much about on my own time. And it's not about rushing a sequel, it's about really understanding if the environment is calling for it. Like, I really do think of her as this beautiful channel, and the
Mhm.
way that she's trying to communicate her messages and the albums, like all of these are, to your point, so incredibly intentional, whether it's conscious or not. But I just think it's so striking, this album coming out, Mars is in Taurus, or Mars was in Taurus around this time. But then now we've also got Chiron in Taurus. So there's a lot about healing the body as
Yeah.
well as part of this. And so this album almost having a um more responsibility than the
Mm.
first Confessions album in
Yeah.
helping situate people and ground people at this moment in time. I don't
Madonna Louise Ciccone was born on August 16th, 1958, 7:05 a.m. in Bay City, Michigan. She grew up in a large Catholic family and spent most of her childhood in the Detroit suburbs. The defining event of her childhood occurred on December 1st, 1963, when her mother died from breast cancer at only 30 years old. Madonna was only 5 years old. This loss would shape nearly every aspect of her personality: her drive, her need for control, her fear of abandonment, and her determination to become extraordinary. I mean, yeah, her mother has been a major, like, I think if you think of like topics that she covers a lot in her music, dancing, getting into the groove is probably number one. But then number two is like her mother. She's written a lot of music about her mother over the years.
Oh, yeah.
As a teenager, Madonna excelled academically and discovered dance. A dance teacher named Christopher Flynn encouraged her artistic ambitions and exposed her to a broader world of culture, art, and self-expression. By the mid-70s, she had earned a dance scholarship to the University of Michigan, but college didn't hold for long because 2 years later, she dropped out in 1978 and moved to New York City to pursue a career in dance. Later, she would famously say she arrived with just $35 in her pocket. She also, I think this is a big part of her life, that there's a lot of lore, and I don't know if people really believe that she was slumming it like this, but I mean, wasn't everybody in New York City in the early 80s for the most part?
She was on the vibe.
Yeah. She said, she arrived with just $35. I remember seeing an interview where she was like, all she ate was popcorn for like weeks on end. Yeah.
It's like the Carrie Bradshaw diet, like
Yeah,
Vogue will fill me, like no real substance will fill me.
exactly. So Madonna worked odd jobs, studied dance, lived in tiny apartments, and immersed herself in the city's underground music and art scene. Madonna absorbed influences from punk, disco, performance art, and the emerging club culture that was transforming downtown Manhattan. She was not yet a singer. She was still pursuing dance. In fact, she started getting into like musical theater. She was trying to figure out what to do with dance. And then she quickly got into music. Initially, she was playing drums and then guitar in a few bands, most notably the Breakfast Club and Emmy. But she realized pretty quickly that she wanted to be at the front of the stage and she wanted to be the singer. So she pushed her way to the front and started writing songs and found that she was good at it and enjoyed doing it. So she started recording demos. She started getting away from the band sound and started doing more dance type stuff. Joseph, you probably heard it. I don't know if Tasha, you've heard, but like her original demos, I have
Oh,
them on
yeah.
my computer. They're very good.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh my God.
it's some of her best stuff is that original demo. You can understand why she got a record deal. It's a good demo.
Yeah,
I don't think they're available on streaming. What were you saying?
I was going to say, I think Everybody, which was one of the singles off of her first record, was
Yeah, it was her
was-
first single.
it was her first single. that was a part of those demos, or at least
Yeah.
the early iteration of that song was part of those demos.
Yeah, you can hear the evolution in the demos. Like there's one song that sounds like the Pretenders, and
Hmm.
she like very Chrissy Hine kind of punk. And then it started getting more dancey and electronic. But even like the original version of Burning Up was kind of like a Ross
Yes,
punk song.
it was. Yeah,
Lots
that
of
was one of the
guitars.
demos too. Yep.
Yeah, it's good. So yeah, in 1982, she released her first single, Everybody, and it became a club hit and attracted attention from the music industry. So about a year later, she released her debut album on July 27, 1983. Songs like Holiday, Lucky Star, and Borderline quickly established her as a rising star. But it wasn't until Like a Virgin where she became an international sensation. The provocative title track, her unforgettable MTV performance, which we'll look at the chart for that. Yeah, I feel like it was that whole thing that she really became a household name pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And she continued to release big albums. True Blue did really well. Then she did Like a Prayer. Before that, though, she married Sean Penn. We'll look at that. Then she divorced Sean Penn. We'll look at that. Then I think for me, one of the more interesting eras for her, one of the more defining eras for her were the late 80s, early 90s. She put out some of her biggest music. She became even bigger in that time. There's also a lot of her friends were dying of AIDS. So there was that dichotomy right around when her and Sean divorced, actually. But over the years, I mean, she reinvented herself over and over. Even in 1988, after she had her first child and she released Ray of Light, she became like a yoga, Whole Foods henna lady.
Oh yeah.
Someone you'd see shopping at Whole Foods. Anyway, but Madonna has never stopped. She got married again, divorced again, adopted 4 children, put out a handful of more albums, toured extensively, and remained during the 2000s. Even when she wasn't putting out some of her better albums, she was for a couple of years in a row the top touring artist, and still is one of the top touring artists of all time. And she recently almost died. We'll talk about that too. And today at 67, she released a new album that many are saying is her best in 20 years. So here we are.
Best in 20 years. Wow.
That's what they're saying.
So is the last good album, The First Confessions?
Yeah,
Is that the consensus? Is that what you both believe as well?
I believe that.
Yeah. I mean, I do think that she's had some songs that have been pretty popular since then, but in terms of like a body of work encapsulated in an album, I think Confessions 1 was probably her last like successful album as a whole.
Yeah, and I think a big part of it is if you look at her albums where for most of her career, she worked with it would either be like 1 or 2 producers on an album. She had like one songwriting partner and they would do everything. And then when we got to the late 2000s and then 2010s, she was getting swept up. It had to do with the record deal at the time. She was getting swept up in like the pop machine where they were like, all right, we're going to give you like 13 songwriters and like 15 producers. And so the albums, there was no cohesion. They were all over the place. Some of them sounded like she was just a guest. Like that one she did with that had like Justin Timberlake and Timbaland on it. Like it felt like she was a guest on their album, those songs.
What is it? 4 minutes to save the world. 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Was that the song?
Yeah, which is fine. That song's fine. And this is the first album in a really long time where she just worked with one co-writer, one producer. And I think that that's a big part of it, that it's the cohesion is there. It's deeper, more heartfelt.
Yeah.
I don't think the last handful of albums she's put out felt very heartfelt, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, let's look at her chart after an hour of talking about it.
Honestly, truly, the more you talk about Madonna and even the way you like, I'm so glad you actually like introed her history or like reintroduced her, because yeah, now that I really think about it, I'm like, yeah, Virgo rising, 100%, you know? But like it just makes all the more sense even. So yeah, I love that walk through
Yeah,
memory lane. Hmm.
totally.
Also, we were talking about this. We were talking about the sex book. Did you know that there's a free PDF of the sex book online? I'm actually scrolling through it
Oh,
right now.
no.
Stop. That's
Yeah,
amazing. Someone should like recirculate that in public knowledge.
I'll
Yeah,
drop it in the chat.
Yeah.
awesome.
You just know that's going to be someone's Mars Uranus like awakening or with the sex book. That's amazing.
I've still never seen it cover to cover. I've only seen bits of it.
I'm scrolling through it right now. And honestly, it's not as racy as you. And maybe because like we've all had access to the internet and porn, so like
Yeah,
it's pretty tame compared to like what you can find for free these days on the internet.
right.
Mm.
But anyway, yeah, it's available for free.
All
So
right. Well, we're
there you
going to
go.
check it out.
Very cool.
Well, this is Madonna's chart.
Oh, so compelling.
Yeah.
So compelling.
We've got Pluto in the first, Mercury in the first, Moon in the first, all in Virgo, along with the ascendant. She's got that Venus, Uranus, and the Sun in Leo. And then she's got that North Node, Jupiter conjunction in Libra. And then the other big piece of her chart is that Mars in Taurus, square Uranus.
Mhm.
The Mars in Taurus makes me think about, there was a quote. Actually, here's a good moment for a quote. One of her biggest inspirations was Frida Kahlo.
Oh, that's so interesting because Frida was a Leo rising, right?
Right. Yeah.
That 12th house and the Venus in Leo. Interesting.
Mm.
Of course, I can't find it now. This was early on in her career when she was like, keep up the momentum of confidence that she could do this. She
Mm.
said, I had to dare myself every day to keep going. I wondered if it was all worth it. But then I would pull myself together and look at a postcard of Frida Kahlo taped to my wall, and the sight of her mustache consoled me.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also think that Mars in the ninth house is also why you're always going to get at least one Spanish speaking song on a Madonna album.
Is the hot take Madonna like ushered in Spanish pop for the rest, like the mainstream crossover that like happened before anyone like if I think about like what the like Christina Aguilera and like the Ricky like when people started like doing the more mainstream type of pop and then like let's blend Latin influences in, I'm like, didn't Liza Bonita come out like literally before all of that, even like
Oh yeah.
1987? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then who's that girl that had Spanish in it too?
Mm.
Yeah.
I can't
Oh,
help
and then
like oh
oh, sorry.
no
And then she had a
please.
song called Spanish Eyes on Like a Prayer.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. It wouldn't be a Madonna album if there wasn't at least a Spanish speaking song or like a part where she speaks Spanish at some point.
That's so
Yeah.
interesting.
Sorry, I didn't
Yeah.
mean to interrupt you.
Oh my God, no. I think it's so fascinating because she does have the Saturn in Sag. So like when I think about like foreign culture and I think about the interplay with the ninth house, like there is this like because Mars and Saturn are forming like an in conjunction, right? Like they can't really see each other, but it's almost like the influence is there, but she can't like put a straight connection to it. Like it's you know what I mean? I don't know. When the in conjunction's happening, like you don't really see the opposing force. It's kind of like I don't really know, there's this like je ne sais quoi, there's just this like type of energy like pushing me in that direction where like I might not even have the clear vision to do it, but like here we are and it might cause friction sometimes. And I can also imagine that like resulting in like criticism from other
Mm.
people about like even when you think about like the accent and language and appropriateness, especially like in this climate, is it respectful to culture, etc. So I think that's also interesting that that's embodied there too, the Saturn and Sag.
Yeah.
But I was just gonna say, I mean, the midheaven at 3 degrees, like it's so crazy, right? Because it just gives you another point for this chart, Virgo rising, that this album, Confessions 2, dropping today on the Mars-Uranus conjunction at 3 degrees is like right on that midheaven. I mean, so it's so loud. It's so loud that I don't know. It just
Here
feels
we go.
compelling. It's so compelling.
Yeah, this was real. I mean, the chart for today, but I put midnight for when Confessions 2 came out, just because that's when it
Mhm.
came out. And yeah, I mean, we got the Mars Uranus conjunction right on her MC. Everyone's shocked how good it is, I think. I think that's really a big part of it. They're like, wow, this is really good. And it's not just, the best thing she's done. 20, it's like it's something that's really good, like added to her canon. Like this is just as good if stuff throughout her whole career. So
Mhm. I have a question for y'all. Do you feel like Madonna with her Leo, okay, diva status, in the best way, is she annoyed that today of all days, like this album has come out, but the media frenzy has been like very about Taylor Swift's wedding? Like it's
oh
like, you know what I mean? Like there's so much media hoopla, and I haven't had as much of Madonna compared to Taylor Swift on my side of the internet. Maybe your side of the internet is a little different.
My side's different for sure.
Yeah.
I didn't even know Taylor Swift was getting married this weekend.
mm,
New York life at the moment is just
Mm.
insane.
I bet.
It's too much in this city right now.
When you were saying all that, it was making me think of interviews, maybe in part of Truth or Dare with Madonna, where she's like, no, it wasn't Truth or Dare, but she was like complaining about the Bodyguard soundtrack. She's like, when is the Bodyguard?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
she's like, it's still in the charts. What is going on? Like, still away Bodyguard soundtrack. And I'm just imagining her having that same reaction to Taylor Swift a little bit.
Like, go away. Why'd you pick today?
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah. And then the Jupiter, Venus of it all, which is perfect. A Jupiter Venus conjunction, because when the short film came out, whenever that was, like a month ago, we had a Jupiter. It came out on the Jupiter Venus conjunction,
Yeah.
and here she
Yeah.
has it in her chart along with it, so it's part of the story of the album.
Mhm. And Venus on her sun. Like, I mean, it's really a gorgeous set of transits, I think, for an album release, especially, invoking come back to the dance floor, come back to church. Like,
Mm-hmm.
phenomenal. Phenomenal. No notes.
And again, a really good example of like the astrology, like all the astrologers, especially the male astrologers, cis male astrologers, dooming and glooming about the astrology this weekend. And it's like, yes, Uranus Mars conjunction, we're going to see some wild stuff. We see some wild stuff pop off. We're probably going to see more wild stuff. It doesn't mean World War III necessarily. I mean, look at this. This lights up her chart really well. So it's, it depends on the chart.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. And, for what it's worth, like it's all about working with the energy, right? Like the planets all have a set of instructions or ideas about what they want to accomplish to help you accomplish. And so, on some level, if you're using the energy the way they want you to use the energy, then to me, there's like a facilitation of that. And so she's releasing an album. Like, I think it's just so brilliant. Layers, right? It's Mercury retrograde. So a lot of times people be like, don't release anything during Mercury retrograde. Don't release anything during these combustible energies. And it's like, well, she's born with the natal Mercury retrograde. So these periods are more she's more in tune with these periods as someone who runs against culture. And you also think about its Confessions too. It's a continuation of an old album or an idea that she's breathing new life into. And not only that, again, she is releasing an album literally at like post 65, right? Like all these things are things that you think about like, wow, yeah, they really embody so much of what the energy is trying to do, that it makes a lot of sense why you would release this album right now. Whether you intentionally chose the date or not, it makes
Yeah.
sense. Mhm.
Yeah, it's perfect. It's
Totally.
also just a perfect counterpoint to the United States 250th anniversary that most of us aren't like super hyped about.
Mm-hmm. I'm like and you know what? It's so interesting, right? Because she is also going to be at the World Cup finals. Like she's going to be the performer at the halftime show on July 19th, which
Right.
is when the Barbeau basket is quote unquote like peaking, right? Like these 3 date stretches. So like it's so significant for Madonna again as someone who has like existed literally even pre that Saturn Neptune era, like she came into consciousness like right before that Saturn Neptune Capricorn era. Now like we're at the Saturn Neptune Aries era and like Madonna's there again as this stalwart. Like I kind of think of her as like there's like some really cool like transference of like energetic symbol like power on stage that's happening at the World Cup final. Like this is huge. I mean, this July, I'm exhausted. It's only 3 days into July. I'm so exhausted thinking about how much energy is hitting the United States right now. But like
Yeah.
Madonna is like one of those stories. Absolutely.
Yeah. One of the more positive stories.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
Well, let's look at the defining moment of her life when her mother passed away. So, December 1st, 1963 is when her mother passed away. Madonna was 5 years old. Um,
Wow.
yeah, Uranus was right on her ascendant.
Oh yeah, that was the Uranus Chiron opposition. Oh, that's sad.
And I'm thinking that Mercury, Mars would have made a conjunction at some point near her Saturn in the fourth house.
Mm-hmm. Neptune opposing her Mars as well, dissolving. Oh man.
Yeah.
How old was Madonna at this time?
5.
5,
She's
right.
5.
Well, in astrology, right, like you think about perfection years and how each age corresponds to a house in the chart. And so if you're 5 years old, you'd be thinking about her sixth house and you'd be
Mhm.
that Chiron in Aquarius. And then you think about the Saturn hitting. So again, like something health related and then home and family, but like a really deep wounding and something like quite honestly, like grief, grief is something really difficult to get over. Like in some level, you just never get over it. And so I think
Yeah.
that like Chiron as an embodiment of one of your greatest griefs, I think, is really interesting here as well. But it's really sad. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that tells us a lot about what her Chiron represents in her chart, that it is related to her mother.
Hmm. It's always interesting, right? Like, I don't know how you feel when you talk to clients who come in and like we process death, and we process like what the transits mean around the time of death. And like I think it's just so fascinating that Jupiter was squaring the nodes at the time as well. Jupiter in Madonna's eighth house of death, but
Mhm.
Mars ruling that house, from the ninth. Like, and when I think about the nodal squaring, fifth house, 11th house, this, like, mom's death was a necessary catalyst for her to go after her dreams in a
Mm.
different way. And so whether it's like keeping the spirit of mom alive or something, but there's just this
Mhm.
pull towards this is an important turning point. And either you get consumed by the grief or you channel the grief into a bigger expression of who you are. And I think in a way that's like her mother's parting gift to her with these transits.
Yeah, it put a fire under her ass. It really like gave her something she felt she needed to prove.
Mm.
Well, that's a really beautiful way of looking at it, actually. It's a really good way to turn something so tragic into an opportunity for growth. And um, yeah, I just think that
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I thought next we could look at right around when she got a record deal. Now, I don't
Mm.
have an exact date, but it was during Aries season in 1982. So I said, well, let's look at the Aries ingress chart.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
the whole story around her record deal is also
Mythologized.
yeah, because wasn't it Clive Davis?
Oh my God,
No,
stop.
Or who
it
was it?
wasn't Clive Davis.
No, who was it?
R.I.P.
No, it was
Yeah, all right.
Some record executive was in the hospital and she basically walked right into his hospital room and like gave him a demo or something. That's like one of the lore
It's
about
part of the story. Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember the whole thing, but yeah, she like wanted to. She was worried that I think if time had passed, that they were going to forget about her or move on. And she
Yeah.
was like, "We need to sign this now." And she like went in there. He was getting ready to have surgery, and she was like, "Sign me." I think I don't know. Yeah, it was something like that.
I'm obsessed.
Yeah,
I'm obsessed. Crazy person behavior, but
yeah,
obsessed. Like, I would want that from Madonna, like I would want a story like that. Like, that's part of your lore, as you would say.
yeah. She said she annoyed everyone. They were like A&R guys, like they'd see her coming and they'd like turn around and run because she was like, trying to get her music out there. She was very pushy. She knew she had to be.
Listen, when you're a plutonic person, like sometimes like I have Pluto and in it. Sometimes I'm literally like, do I have to be this insanely intense about this? And in my head, I'm like, actually, yes, because there is such a compulsion of a drive that comes from a deeper place to making sure the goal is met, and like
Mm.
I wouldn't want her doing it any other way. Like in incredible. It's that same type of intensity that gives her longevity.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I did just look it up. So it was Seymour Stein
Yes.
Oh,
he was the founder of Sire Records, and she basically barged into his hospital room while he was recovering from open heart surgery.
Right.
oh my God! Not the Leo and the Virgo all in one, because Leo rules the heart
Yeah.
and the. Oh my God,
Yeah,
that is incredible.
wild, wild.
You know what? His heart was open and he was
I
no longer
guess.
frozen. And
Oh my God. He opened his
Exactly.
heart to her.
she saw an opening and she took it. I mean,
Sure
God
did.
bless.
Um,
Don't try this at home, kids, but
Yeah. Speaking of Pluto in the first, because I know, Tasha, that is one of your signatures in your chart. So this is something you really understand. And you said something recently about, well,
oh
like
no.
maybe you've just said in general things about like when you Pluto in the first house, there's something about looking into people's eyes to like, there's
Oh,
like a power behind that, right?
totally. Yeah. Yeah. Well, yes. Short answer, yes.
Well, I have a really great quote that I think shows this. She said, "I had this thing that I would look into everybody's eyes because I was going to be somebody and they were going to remember me."
Oh,
Yeah.
it's so inspirational to like listen to these people, honestly. But it is true. I deliberate like I on the subway try not to look at people because I'm not trying to like call
Pull them in.
people in. Yeah. But there is this idea that like I have had people tell me, in an interview set, like this was back in college, I was interviewing someone and I was just asking a very regular conversation, but I was like maintaining eye contact. And she cried after our conversation, and she, like, told, like, my manager and was like I cried, and she's like, "What did you say to her?" I asked and I was like, "Nothing. I just asked her a question, and I looked at her face." Like, that was it, and so, yeah, Madonna's got a lot of energy, and it's very intense, so it's
Yeah.
that quote
You
is
can use
amazing.
it. Yeah, that
Yes.
Pluto in the first, you can use it. It's a superpower.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I just love that Pluto is just like blowing up her, North Node Jupiter conjunction in the second house. It's like rocket fuel or something.
Oh, yeah. I mean, my thing is this, like, I know people look at Pluto and may think, "Oh my god, like, the planet of death," but it's also rebirth, and so when we
Yeah.
talk about Madonna and this idea of her having different generations, different iterations, different born again periods, like, and they come with a lot of power, to me, that's Pluto on in the first house on, like, close to the ascendant as well, that's, like, a big factor there. So she has to actually reinvent herself. It's very evolve or die. And she quite literally died. Like she almost like literally
Yes.
confronted mortality and came back. And now this is the album that almost like she went to the other side and almost like passed, but then now has come back to deliver like one final like deliverance, truly. Like, not to make this all religious and spiritual, but I mean, this is Madonna we're talking about. It does
Yeah.
feel like one final big deliverance. You know what I mean? Like, I don't foresee another like crazy album after this. I kind of think of this being like the big
The
cement.
big,
Like, yeah,
yeah,
I can be
her last
happy.
string.
I think it's really interesting that in this chart, this Aries chart where she, she got signed, Chiron's in Taurus at that time. So we're back to another Chiron in Taurus era, of
Mm-hmm.
course. So very full circle. Like there's a lot of themes about coming full circle. Like right now, I think with folks, with artists, especially like if you've been in the business for a long time. But I also find it beautiful that Venus is in Aquarius and it's activating her Uranus, right? So to me, like for Madonna, a Uranus transit is kind of like a breakthrough transit, right? Or like an up leveling of
Yeah.
something rather than mayhem. I mean, fame's a mayhem in of itself, a monster in of itself, but like, I don't know, it's again one of those case studies where you're showing a Uranian hit does not mean immediate bad. It actually can mean
Yes.
chaotic good.
Yeah, the good. And that's the one, if I was going to pinpoint one theme, planetary theme that pops up the most, it's Uranus,
Mm-hmm.
which I was surprised by and pleasantly surprised because, like you said, it's a good example that like things can be chaotic good.
Mm-hmm. I I think it's interesting because Chiron, I don't know that much about Chiron necessarily. Like everything I've done is just through experience or reading, but Chiron, what in theory, like orbits between like Saturn and Uranus, right? Like there's some connection with Saturn and Uranus as well. And I just think it's interesting. Her Chiron's in Aquarius. So as you pointing out, she's got a lot of Uranian activations and she's also got the Uranus Chiron. So like again, we trace it back to like it's like grief, right? With that Chiron
Yeah.
in Aquarius. Like it all kind of like keeps coming back to that.
Well, it was like the day when her mother died and Uranus was on her ascendant. It was
Mm-hmm.
almost like in that moment, there was a decision that had to be made. Was she going to use this chaotic energy for good and propel her forward, or was she going to crumble under it? And obviously, we know what she did. So, like when these big Uranus hits come, they're like advancements.
Mm-hmm.
Should
Absolutely.
we look at her MTV performance where she blew up, then
Yeah.
the Like a
Yes.
Virgin?
Yes.
I put 9 p.m. because that's when they started. So this is technically the chart for that episode, that show. And yeah, she had a Mercury return, although she has a retrograde Mercury, so this is a forward Mercury.
Mm.
Uranus and Chiron are opposing each other here and squaring her ascendant.
The natal recurrence. Yeah.
Yeah.
Big moment.
Mm-hmm.
Big moment. And you've got the fast moving moon over the Mars, right? Like the trigger point, like where's the
Yeah.
attention? And she's being broadcast on a global stage. Mars and
Yeah.
Taurus. And Mars is not the most empowered in Taurus, right? As we would say sometimes. But you think about the performance in of itself, it was very sexual. And so it disrupted conventional norms, which I think is perfect for Mars and Taurus as well.
Yeah. Also, just a little like historical side note here. She actually is very critical of that performance.
Hmm.
Um,
Really?
yes, because
Hmm.
I think they wanted her to lip sync and she wanted to sing it live. And it wasn't her best vocal performance as far as from her perspective. She thought that she really met, like she was so preoccupied with her voice not being presented the way she wanted it to, or her not being able to like hit the notes, or her not being able to hear things properly. And so she was very critical of it. She actually thought in the moment that it was the end of her career. because of her
Mm.
performance, which is which is a very Virgo
Yes.
way to view a moment like that. Like you were saying
Mhm.
earlier, like, you know, criticizing her album cover art for her
Yep.
first record. And then she was kind of blown away by how positive the response was and how much she blew up. She had no idea that it was actually going to she thought it was going to ruin her career.
She thought she bombed.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
I feel like I heard or read there was like, not to say sabotage going on, or she felt like there was also some like fuck shit going on behind the scenes about like wardrobe malfunctions and things like that. That like they had camera angles at different angles, and like it was all
Like they were trying to go up her skirt or something at one point, right?
yeah, something like that. But I think it is interesting because like, and to me, this is where you kind of maybe see like when a planet hasn't crossed over the ascendant yet, technically. So, like in this case, even though it's in the first house, it still hasn't crossed over her Virgo rising. So there is like to me, I feel like that 12th house Virgo versus the first house, right? Like this idea of, I'm having to even break through my own type of like harsh criticism and negative self-talk and like push through. But you see that tension, like because the 12th into the 1st, you can think of that also as like birth, right? Like your birth from
Mhm.
the womb and you start to dawn onto people. Mercury, in this case, like this is Madonna's birth, right? And with birth, there's always a struggle. And I think it's as a Madonna, like the Madonna herself, it's such a beautiful symbolic representation of the struggle of birth, like just like with that Mercury right there.
Mhm.
Yeah. I love it.
Wait, could you pull out Sean Penn's chart with hers? I want to see this.
Ooh.
Oh,
It's
what happened, chart? Oh my God.
oh my gosh. It's so crazy because it's like obviously it's like Sean Penn's like not the only person she like ever married, right? She married Guy Ritchie as well, but like Sean
Yeah.
Penn's like the most like I don't know, Leo thing ever.
Yeah.
August 17th, 1960 at 3:17 p.m. in Burbank, LA County. They're born a day apart.
Well, he was born in 1960.
2 years and
2
a day
years.
apart. They're born a whole Mars return apart.
Wow.
Dun dun dun. Oh my God.
Whoa.
Oh my God.
His Venus is on her ascendant and her moon. No wonder she's like, oh, even like all the years later, she was my one true love.
Wow.
Wow. I'm floored. Like,
His ascendant is right on her Mars. He was the bad boy father figure,
he really was. I mean, that Mars and Saturn opposition between the both of them, like you can see where Mars and Saturn at a lower vibration translates to like like verbal abuse or like, like
Yeah.
some really like not so nice things being said about each other to each other. Energy.
His Mercury and Leo conjunct her Uranus.
Another Uranus hit.
Yeah.
And his Uranus on her sun.
Yeah. And he has a loose Uranus sun conjunction. So he's Uranian. So she sensed that Uranian nature about him.
They're both legend like icons in their own right. Like together they came together and that was huge, but then individually they're also like they could exist without each other. Like I'm sure if you talk to people, especially in my younger generation, they would not even have known Madonna and Sean Penn were a thing. But it's like kind of
Right.
crazy.
Yeah, because they've both been big ever since still.
Yeah. I didn't realize their marriage lasted 4 years. I thought that it
Yeah.
was a shorter marriage than that. I actually just looked it up.
Yeah, I'm surprised. That's a longer I thought 2, LOL, but 4, that's
I thought it was like 3. I knew it was just like the last part of the 80s.
they gave it a good college try, 4 years.
Yeah. Well, let's actually look real quick at the day they got married because I think that's an interesting chart.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Wow.
So I just think this is so interesting. They had
They got
no
married
privacy. They got
on their
married
birthday? On her birthday?
on her birthday. They got married on her birthday. If you went with the Aquarius rising,
Yeah.
she almost got married at the time that chart would have taken place. It was like a mirror.
Oh,
Um,
wow. Oh,
yeah.
wow. That's so fuck.
Yeah, I
Sh-
put 7:30 because it was they got married right as the sun was going down, and at that time of year in LA,
Mhm.
that's when the sun goes down at 7:30. So
I mean, sun on the descendant, that's what you would want in a wedding chart, right? Like the sun, everything on the descendant, it's cute, it's sunset, everyone's celebrating you. Like that's a wedding election chart for sure.
yeah. Well, and then also just all the stuff in the 12th house speaks to there was no privacy. I mean, there was like helicopters. Like everyone talks about
Mm,
how all they during the wedding they couldn't hear anything. They just heard helicopters.
yeah, I can't imagine what it's like to be someone of that like I say this again, at Taylor Swift is getting married in like my backyard today in New York City. I can't imagine what it's like to be a celebrity of a certain magnitude and like trying to have a moment with your closest friends and family who also happen to be celebrities and then completely not being able to do any of that because the whole world wants like a piece of that. And so the 12th house, you see the Mars infringing on like
Yeah,
their piece, right? Like it's challenging. Yeah, interesting.
yeah. Now let's look at their divorce.
Yeah, I'm very curious about those sets. I mean, ooh, North Node on her Mars, right? So either way,
Yeah,
to me, this was pulling her in the direction she needed to go,
yeah,
regardless of like however it turned out. Let's be
yeah.
let
It was a needed, yeah, a thing in her life. She needed to go through this experience.
Yeah.
hmm
And I think maybe so did he.
Yeah,
Yes. Oh, he
You know,
definitely did.
yeah,
because so much about the crumbling of their relationship had to do with like overwhelming public scrutiny.
yeah,
Um, and I think a lot of their arguments were based on that. He really wanted to protect her, and keep her
Mm,
but that protection kind of turned into like an overbearing, almost like prison for her. Um, but she does maintain that like even though there was a lot of verbal abuse, that he never laid a hand on her. And they're actually, I didn't realize this, but they're actually like still friends.
hmm
mhm.
Which I didn't. I thought that they were like no contact. I was wrong.
You know, I think it makes sense with the Mars, Gemini, Saturn, like seeing that. Like, again, my first reaction is, yeah, he probably like said some very nasty below the belt, like verbal abuse, like crazy, right? Because it's Gemini on some degree. But yeah, I don't know. The South Node with Aries, though, in the eighth and Mars in Taurus does make me wonder a little bit, if I'm being honest. Just because, you know, when you think about Taurus again, it's like the physicality of it. And then the South
hmm
Node in Aries, like it's a lot of rage. And that
yeah,
rage has to come from somewhere. And in the eighth house, it's, you know, what safe container behind closed doors that no one's going to really see.
Yeah,
So it's striking now at the divorce chart, you know, Mars is on the South Node. Um, Formal split, severance, amazing. But in the wedding
yeah,
chart, the North Node was on her Mars, right? Like there's just like a
yeah,
really fascinating tap in, tap out. But yeah, there's something a little darker with the chart than I think she would maybe also fully reveal about something in that way. I don't know. The
yeah,
eighth house, you know.
totally. And then, of course, the South Node is conjunct to Mercury in the first house. So, that South Node would have been in that
Mm,
first house for that period of time. This was also around the time when a lot of her close friends were dying of AIDS,
mm.
which is
More
really
eighth
sad.
house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it makes sense too. Like South Node, North Node in the first and seventh house. It's like people coming in your life, people coming out of your life.
if you think about this from just the trajectory of her career, Madonna and Sean Penn got divorced, and then it was almost immediately after that that she kind of delved into this world of exploring her sexuality.
Mm,
And I wonder how much of that was a call and response of like being overprotected and like kind of sheltered by an overbearing partner, while simultaneously seeing your friends dying and sexuality being stigmatized, I almost feel like her pushing sex and sexuality to the forefront was a response to both of those things. Um,
Yeah, absolutely. Well, she definitely felt pushed to make AIDS awareness like a part of her platform. I mean, she wrote about being affected by AIDS with Live to Tell in 1987. I mean, that
oh
was
yeah,
really early on, addressing these things. And she continued to through commercials, through, if you
Live
went to
Aid.
her show, there would be pamphlets on like awareness on like how you can catch HIV, what's true and what's false, and really educating people. And so I do think that that mixed in with, when it came to do the sex book, there was so this like on top of trying to unshame, the concepts around like queer culture. She was also trying to unshame the concept around sexuality and who has the right to decide who has power in their sexuality and, what does that look like? And
I think it's you know, the same way we like re-explored her mother's death chart and like, oh, these are like what the transits like could also inherently mean on a deeper level, aside from just these all represent death. It's interesting with the divorce chart and hearing both of you talk about this too. Like, I was just meditating on the South Node in the first and the North Node in the seventh. And just this idea that, like, evolutionary speaking, right, there is a pull towards partnership. But then at the same time, this partnership has completely come undone. So to me, then my interpretation would be it's pulling you to a more meaningful partnership, a more authentic partnership. And the seventh house becomes almost this, like, again, exploration of sexuality. Like she's introducing a different part of herself, or she's indulging, or she's like she's highlighting or she's platforming through the dissolving of the union. She's entered into a bigger union with
mm,
spirituality and sexuality. And, when I think about the Jupiter and Neptune conjunction that she has on her North Node, this is something that this is what she's always going to do, right? She's someone who is a bridge between worlds. She like relationships are really important to her, different musical styles are important. But then there's also the idea of what spiritual message is being delivered through this experience. And so, I've seen the seventh house be kind of viewed as like communion with God. Like entering into a more intentional partnership with like the universe or that type of energy. So it's just really interesting to see the North Node in Pisces. We're in a similar time and energy right now. And yeah, just the idea of dissolving a version of celebrity and the idea of reintroducing more real relationships into the mix. I don't know. There's just something really interesting happening with the nodal activation in the chart.
yeah. And she was getting ready to do one of her biggest transformations when Like a Prayer came out. In fact, I wanted to look at the chart for the release of the Like a Prayer single. So the first time
Mm.
anybody heard the song, saw the
Oh,
video,
you had it right
you were
there. Yeah,
dishonest.
yeah,
and
yeah.
I'm
Go
having
back down. One, one, one.
thank
There
you.
Okay.
we go.
I've got too much in there.
Mars, Uranus, Gemini. So much
Yeah,
information.
too much information. But this is the day
Wow.
of the Saturn Neptune conjunction. Look at that.
Yeah, wow.
Exact.
Wow, wow,
And
wow.
that, and for Like a Prayer to come out on the exact day of a Saturn Neptune conjunction, I mean, it displays the themes of what the
Mm.
song's about. And it also, everything that happened around the Like a Prayer release when it came to the controversy, the religious uproar, but then I mean, it's all very Saturn Neptune.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's so interesting that the Like a Prayer single also features the nodes at 4 degrees, and the eclipses that are coming up in August and Feb are both eclipses at 4 degrees. It just makes me wonder what legendary single is gonna get dropped by Madonna, evocative of Like a Prayer, um,
Mm.
coming through.
Well, I think the next single coming out is Danceteria,
Oh, is it?
Mhm.
Okay.
which it's definitely blown up on TikTok. I feel like I'm always hearing little bits of people doing TikTok videos. So maybe, it'll get even bigger.
Yeah.
Potentially. But
Yeah.
you heard it here first. Like a prayer. I mean, I'm so glad you brought this chart up. Saturn, Neptune, nodes at 4 degrees, South Node Virgo. We're right in it. We're right in this moment. Like, it's super cool,
Yeah.
actually. Mm-hmm.
Very, very. Let's look at when the sex book came out and see how different
Oh,
that was.
I want to say what's
Oh,
the
sorry.
only thing. No. Stay in this chart. Stay in this chart. The only thing I was gonna say is like I'm someone who always likes to point out like malefic transits, malefic sponsored by benefics, basically as a mission statement. So in that like a prayer single release, Pluto opposed to Mars in the 3rd, 9th house, and so you can imagine, right? Astrologer content. Oh my God, accident. Oh my God, abuse. Oh my God, like power dynamics. Da 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 da. Right.
Yeah.
But the song embodies Mars Pluto as well. And
Right.
energy needs to be communicated.
The energy needs to be communicated. Exactly. It's like when you have wild astrology and you don't leave the house, you're going to see it in what you're watching on TV. You're going to see it in the weird little things that happen, like in your space. Like, it's not always, war and car accidents. So, this is when Madonna released the sex book. I put 9 a.m. I know music like back in the day would come out at midnight. Maybe it did. Maybe I should have put.
No, I don't think it did. I think that was very much a modern streaming era thing. I think like Beyonce might have switched it up because it used to be like a different day, like Tuesday or something. Now it's like
Yes.
Friday midnight. But I distinctly remember, and I was not really here for this time, but distinctly remember watching people line up at Tower Records in the
Yes.
morning for like an album release or something.
I worked at Tower Records and I worked.
Oh, stop.
Yeah, I worked the Monday night at my Tower Records. I was the new release guy.
Yeah.
So everything that came in, like usually, I'd be in charge of like all the stuff and I would get everything prepared, all the new releases in order, and then like at midnight for anybody that was still in the store, we would let them stay and we would roll all the stuff out, and then they would have a few minutes to buy what was coming out the following day, but they got to do it at midnight. So that's why I always, and that was like that up until like 2005 was how Tower Records did it before they went out of business. So that's why when I put music charts, I always put midnight. If it was like between like the 80s, 90s, early 2000s, it would have been out at midnight. So that's why I know it at midnight. Because that was the culture. But yeah, I don't know. Bookstores typically open at 9 a.m. So this seemed more appropriate.
Fair, very fair.
And you got Chiron again, but this time it's just about on her sun.
Chiron opposition.
Yes, Chiron opposition.
Wow.
Where, she was being accused of going too far, and like maybe this time her taste level is she was being tacky, gaudy,
Cringe.
trashy, cringe.
Oh.
That's so fascinating.
Yeah.
Sun on her Jupiter. I mean, beautiful. 2nd house. Great. Great. Love that.
Yeah.
But like, if you think about it, so I do think that while Madonna did kind of create the blueprint for the modern day, like pop princess, I can't imagine somebody like Taylor Swift releasing a sex book or
no,
you know what I mean?
Not her,
like
different pop lanes for sure.
Yeah, like I can't imagine even Lady Gaga releasing like a topless. Like I know that there are pictures of her out there, but like I feel like the sex book is something that like only Madonna has really pushed it that far. Like we haven't seen anybody else do that. So I feel like the sex book is something that is very, very specifically Madonna.
Totally.
Yeah.
I think that's why it also makes sense that Sabrina Carpenter is her, you know what I mean? Like the anointed. Like
Yeah.
we got the Coachella approval. We got her on the song. Sabrina kind of really embodies both Taylor into more sexual, right? Like she started out with Taylor, but Sabrina has done that very well. I think she's got Mars in Libra, so that makes a lot of sense with Madonna too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think Sabrina Carpenter's a Cancer rising,
Potentially, yeah.
potentially.
Mm-hmm. Very
Um,
interesting.
yeah. And then I mean, you do have Uranus again, conjunct Neptune,
Mm-hmm.
trining her Mars. So Uranus is
Mm-hmm.
at it again. And while, many would have seen this as a failure, it really wasn't a failure. I mean, people still talk about it to this day. Sex books are still worth a lot of money online if you want to get an unopened one. They exist, but they're expensive.
Oh
So
yeah.
it wasn't really a failure.
It
People just
depends
had to rethink.
whose standards, right?
Right.
Right.
Always with Leo, whose criticism, whose standards, who are we performing for? Clearly, she's to me some like when you symbolically embrace like your divorce from mega celebrity and mainstream culture, right? Like there's a deeper level to that and her embracing this. Like if you were her astrologer at this moment in time, it'd be like, yeah, this is exactly what you need to be doing. It's damn what people say. And in fact,
Yeah,
the more they hate, the better, actually. You know you're doing something right because it's a Uranus transit at the end of the day.
that's
Yeah.
right. People might get interviewed by news reporters on the street. Like, where do they find these people? You always see some weird old lady be like, I think she's disgusting. Yeah. And they're like, who are these people they're finding on the
Yeah.
street? But yeah, like who gives a shit?
It reminds me of like the Billy on the street where they're like running to people. They're like, tell
Yeah,
us your opinion
yeah,
immediately.
exactly.
Really cool though, the Mars and Uranus oppositions also here. So again, like, we have Mars Uranus today in the sky, Mars opposing Uranus in the sky. Again, to your point earlier, Uranus in her chart is always loud. At least
Yeah,
when transits are happening, it's very loud for Madonna.
yeah. Well, shall we look at the moment she gave birth to her first daughter, Lourdes? Lourdes is a Pisces rising. Her mother's a Virgo rising. And immediately
Oh,
you
yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
know the struggle. Like
Mhm.
she probably sees her mother as too critical, being negative. Lourdes wants to do things on her own time. I'm sure, Pisces. She's probably a lot more sensitive than Madonna in a lot of ways. But I love that they did a song on the new album together and they wrote it together and it was apparently like a very healing
Mother-daughter
moment.
anthem.
Yeah, they had like it's kind of like they go back and forth like apologizing to each other. And in the song she starts off addressing her as Little Star, which is a reference to the song Little Star from Ray of Light, which was her song she wrote about her daughter when she was born. So I thought that was a really
Mhm.
cool full circle sweet moment.
Mhm. Oh, that's really sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so sweet. I think it's so fascinating that Lourdes has also a sun Chiron. Or not, yeah, like,
Yeah.
you
You're right.
know, and that's on the North Node. So, like, Lourdes really did heal a lot of wounds or help Madonna heal a lot of wounds, maybe like mom related and grief related, and to the whole full circle point. It is
Yeah.
interesting. Admittedly, when we were talking about Champagne and like the idea of someone controlling and protecting. Like when I think about the Virgo moon in her chart, not saying all people who have Virgo moon moms have like super controlling moms, but just the idea of Virgo moon and then Mercury and then Pluto, it can kind of be a little bit more intensely controlled environment. And then I think about Saturn and Sag, right? I don't have the freedom. So in a way, Madonna could not have been Madonna without that control and breaking out of control. It's very Persephone and Demeter coded, admittedly, when you think
Mhm.
about the Plutonic influence in the chart. And then now with her own daughter, what you just said about like Madonna might be controlling, etc. Like it's like another repeating of the cycle, right? And Lourdes is kind of showing you it's okay to not exert that much control. And I think it's so beautiful that the song now comes out after this year-long Jupiter in Cancer. We had a Mars Cancer retrograde last summer. Everyone's probably got some things they're dealing with family,
Mhm.
or with your mom. And I think that again, like as a vessel, she's always gonna channel what the collective needs to hear at certain moments, regardless if we want to or not. And I think that's really beautiful too. And you see that Lourdes and that Sun Chiron like really helping heal. So yeah, it's super
Mhm.
cool to see this play out. When you think about full circle, you think about Jupiter, like things coming back all the way around 12 years and then like we grow again. So I don't know. It's really
Yeah,
poetic.
Yeah.
it is. I also think about, Lourdes is a Scorpio moon. When I saw that, I was like, oh, bless her. Oh,
This
bless her, Scorpio moon. Because, like, I
Mm,
can't imagine, and Joseph, you have a Scorpio moon too. I can't imagine growing up innately when you have a Scorpio moon. I think the early struggles are understanding your emotional state and understanding what it is it's trying to tell you. And
mhm.
so, like, being upset about something and not fully understanding what it is you're upset about. Like, as you get older, you figure that stuff out. But when you're
Yeah.
younger, it's very confusing having a Scorpio moon emotionally.
Mm.
Very moody, very sensitive. It takes everything very personally.
I still do.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's it's part of the Scorpio moon journey. And so I
Yeah.
just like, ugh, poor Lourdes. She must have been like, and also probably terrified of her mother. And she actually
Yeah.
said in an interview, she was like, my mom is the most intimidating person on the planet. If I didn't have her as a mother, she's like, I am not afraid of anyone anymore because I have this person as a mother.
Mhm.
But that was
Wow.
interesting. Yeah.
You know what? My mom was born a month before Madonna. Can't
Wow.
confirm. Can't confirm. It's how I feel. I've once said to people, "You think you can hurt me?" My mom has said the worst things to me. Like, no way you're gonna hurt me. I've heard the worst already. So fucking bring it, Like,
Right.
but it is that type of like that is that type of energy for real. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
They've squaring Mars too, so that was a testy childhood.
Yeah.
Even though with Lourdes and the Pisces and the Libra, how comfortable does she really feel expressing all of that?
Yeah.
Is that tension turned inward? Because again, there's a lot about Jupiter Cap ruling her chart as Pisces rising. There is almost the idea of like Lourdes kind of comes in as an elder in my mind,
Mm.
like
Yes.
for Madonna, even though she's the daughter.
No, it makes a lot of sense. She's the one that's teaching her all these lessons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Uranus hitting Madonna's Venus. Again, another Uranian event via birth of Lourdes, right? And again, Uranus and pregnancy and birth is also very real. Venus was birthed from Uranus, So it's a cool symbolism here as well to like think about the elder again, right? Like someone like since Venus was birthed from Uranus, now Uranus comes in. Bloop, we're giving you another. Mm. I think Lourdes dated Timothée Chalamet too, right? When she was at the the Performing Arts
Yeah.
High School. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, she did.
Too funny. Too
Yeah,
funny.
I watched part of a live stream of like premiering the album, and it was Madonna and Stuart Price, the producer and DJ.
Mhm.
And they were like behind the DJ mix table, whatever. She's like singing along here and there and just kind of dancing. And she kept trying to bring Lourdes in, and Lourdes looked so uncomfortable. And she like tried to get her to like dance with her, and Lourdes looked so horrified. She just like turned around and like ran away. I just like picture that just felt so. I can just imagine like having Madonna as your mother, and you're like a natural introvert, born an
Mhm.
introvert, and your
Mhm.
mother like wants you to like, come on, show them what you got, like how
Mhm.
horrifying.
Mhm.
She's probably been doing that from day one.
Well,
Totally.
and just think about like swap out Madonna with like your mom. Like
Mhm.
imagine your mom doing that.
Yeah.
She wanted
Yeah.
you to like get on the live stream and like grind with her.
Yeah.
I would, I would, I would, I would, I would set myself on fire probably.
Yeah. Yeah. Um,
Sorry, mom.
I can imagine like in the film, like the recent short film, which LOL, I was watching the Knicks with my neighbors who were gay upstairs, and they were like halftime show, so we're gonna put on the Madonna film. Like, yes, this is exactly the viewing experience. And I think Lourdes is in it too, right? It's like very
Yeah.
sexual. It's like like it's like underground club see, but then like Lourdes shows up, right? So like again, I think about Yeah, wow, it must have been so difficult growing up like this, but then now kind of coming full circle and embracing all of it, like, it's super
Yeah.
cool to see that too through the film.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and also because Lourdes is trying to have a music career and she's been doing it on her own without her mother really pushing, you know. Lourdes has had her Saturn return. She's ready to take life a little more seriously, maybe. And, uh,
Well,
I think
she's in it right now, yeah.
yeah, she's in it right now. And, I think she finally understood your mother's Madonna. If you want to make it in the music, you should probably try and do a song with your mom if you want, like
Mm.
just do it. And she did.
Yeah.
It was her idea. And I could just picture the conversation Madonna being like, yeah, you're on, but like, you're going to have to do promo stuff with me. Like, you're going to have to be front and center. Like, this
Mhm,
is how it works. Yeah. It's kind of
mhm.
interesting.
It is super cool, but I mean, eh, I can't imagine, like, when the Saturn return being, like, her formal graduation into her identity standalone from Madonna, but coming from the perspective of, we have to close this chapter of our relationship to begin, like, a more formal relationship as equals rather than, like, I'm your daughter coming to do
Mhm.
something. And I'm sure, for folks who live in the shadow of their parents, right? And with Madonna's chart, it's a very, again, intimidating chart, as you described. I think it could feel so difficult to carve your own voice because you're going to always be trapped with this understanding of I'm Madonna's daughter, And so, like, will people see me for me really, or will they see me because I'm Madonna's daughter?
Yeah.
Pisces rising projection versus meeting the projection. So,
Right.
um,
How about when she got sick a couple years ago, and then we'll like talk about what we think could be coming up for her.
her rebirth, yeah.
Yeah.
That was important. That was super big.
Yeah. And I never got a chart, but Tasha, you remember what it was like on the month, it was like August of 2023. Is that when?
Yeah, I think it was like during the Venus retrograde. Hold on. I like actually think I have
Yeah.
like it randomly saved in my Astro Gold Madonna, like celebration era infection. Wow. June 24th, 2023.
Okay.
June 24th, 2023. Staph infection. And again, that was the summer that Taylor and Travis met, and then they're getting married today, and then Madonna's releasing
Ooh.
the album today. So cycles are real, guys. I don't know what the
Yep.
cycle is yet, but cycle.
Yeah.
To be fair, that was Venus Leo retrograde, right? So that was already like, or shadow period. So that was previewing the Jupiter Leo currently that we're in right now as well. So it makes sense that there would be that cycle connection. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Mhm.
Yeah. Saturn on her descendant. She almost died.
Oh, fuck.
I
From
know.
a staph infection in Pisces. Like, so fucking literal.
I know. And then the South Node on
Oh
Neptune, I
my
think about
God.
like illnesses, Neptune can be like sickness in the hospital.
Totally. Totally. It, you know what? I mean, hello, lunar return. Not like lunar return's that important, but like,
Yeah.
just, you know, another nail in the coffin in this case.
Yeah.
I think it's fascinating because it makes me wonder what Madonna was thinking in that moment as she was experiencing the infection. Like, I want to know, did you meet God in that moment? Like, did you have a conversation with the divine in that moment? Like, because between the 12th
Yeah.
house activation, Neptune, as you pointed out, like, there's a lot of divinity hitting the chart that I'm like,
Yeah.
did you get some final orders or something to come back out and deliver something? Like, I don't know. It's cool though to
It
think.
You
is.
must release confessions too before you can enter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Come back after you release Confessions too.
Yeah. It's like her final confession to God. Like, I don't know. I think there's just something really powerful. And, it's what I said earlier about Pluto rising people. It's evolve or die. At that point, they were about to put Madonna out to pasture, right? It's the greatest hits celebration tour, etc. Like, we're revisiting the career. We're not introducing anything new. But then the energy of the time, right? What was it asking for? It was Pluto and Aquarius fresh. It was Saturn moving into Pisces. It was like finishing an old era, but we're also introducing something new to the fold. And if you are Madonna and you are this legacy pop artist and you are a Jupiter Libra on the North Node, you are going to initiate that call. So you can't just be putting out old shit. You have to initiate something new to lead
Yeah.
other people into showing it's okay. So I just think it's cool to see it come out now at this moment.
Yeah.
Just in July 2026, the hottest astrology month of the year of, you know, the moment.
Yeah. Totally. I mean, she doesn't talk a whole lot about yet. She hasn't really like gone too much into it, but I know she was in a coma for a
Mhm.
period of time.
Mhm.
Her loved ones have said like there was a period of time where they really weren't sure if she was going to make it or not. So like it was serious.
Mhm.
Wow.
Oh yeah. I mean, we've got Mars Chiron also. Mars on the Sun, Mars Chiron. Like there was a struggle. There was absolutely a struggle, a life death struggle.
Yeah.
And that Chiron again, right? That grief, like I don't know, coming home, Saturn ruling that from the fourth. It's very fascinating.
Yeah. Well, let's see. Let's look at. So this is right now. Obviously, the album just came out. What do we think is coming in the next year or two for Madonna? Based on transits, just based on anything,
Mhm.
really.
I think she's going to do another tour.
You do think she's going to do another tour?
I do.
Mhm.
I do.
I second that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I would be down. I would go. I've seen her before. Have anyone seen Madonna live? By any
No.
chance? I saw her during
MDNA, right?
yeah, my least favorite album, least favorite era, but it was still an amazing show. And I was like up front. It was incredible. I would definitely go. I was bummed that I didn't see Celebration. So yeah, if she tours again, I'd be down. She hasn't really teased touring. She has teased what a lot of people think is going to be Glastonbury.
Mhm. Mhm. Big festival circuit, yeah. I mean, she'll be out either way, right? On a big
Yeah,
stage. Whether it's maybe a limited tour, like a residency, the way Harry Styles does it, right? Or a sphere residency. Like, you throw people with these residencies. I feel like that's like kind of like a more modern thing now, where you
it
build
is. It's
something
more
and people come to
acceptable.
you.
Maybe she'll do a Vegas. If she does, we should all go.
We
Yeah,
should. Oh my
for
God, I would love
research.
that. For
Yeah.
research.
For research.
I mean, but it makes sense, right? You think about Jupiter in the 12th, it's like every last bit of like, and here's the thing, she has to be, what I would say is this. There is enough in the tank for one major kind of like run, but she has to be intentional about what she's saying yes to and not, because Jupiter in the 12th can run you down, right? It's so fast while also delivering like drinking from a fire hose as well. Because I think Maurice Hernandez talks about the 12th house as a career house, low
Mm,
key. So again, just the idea of Jupiter coming in, right? It's like really amplifying like collective consciousness, people's attention, people like it's just going to be a crazy year for her, especially when the South Node moves through Leo as well. And that starts at the end of July. I am curious, about that Jupiter Cazimi, that full moon in Aquarius happening on July 29th. Like, that's going to be implicating her Venus and Uranus in the mix. I do wonder if something does get announced after Mercury retrograde, because we know Madonna follows astrology. So,
yeah.
I mean, my hot take earlier was I think a doc still gets done. Now, whether it's posthumous doc, that would be a different story.
Oh,
But the doc will come out. I believe a
that's
doc
what
will.
I really want. I want like a high quality, several episode docu series or something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want a bio.
And Netflix bio one and done.
No, yeah. I want like we need like I want her telling the story. I don't need anyone acting, but like have all of her close people interviewed. Let's like really look at her life, and we have all the
Mm-hmm.
footage. I mean, that's the other amazing thing about Madonna is just like she was on film for 45 years. She's been on,
Yeah.
like in front of the camera, and there's been so many moments. It could be a really rich documentary because there have been so many unauthorized documentaries where they don't have like all the
Yeah.
footage, like we would have access to all of that stuff. So
Absolutely. I would prefer to see like a docu-series that rather than a biopic,
Mm-hmm.
for sure.
yeah, same.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would be worried about her touring. I'm a little concerned about her touring with stuff, especially when the South Node goes into the 12th. Maybe
Mm,
something holds her back from being able to do a whole tour. I don't know. What do you think about that?
I think if she were to like pull like an Adele, where it's like I'm building a home in Germany, like I'm building a concert venue in Germany, and then you're only gonna come get to see me here, like Harry Styles also, like I think then that can be a good use of the South Node in the 12th house because again, she is
Yes.
inviting people into church. She's not actively mobile and going outside. Although that being said, the Venus does rule the ninth house, and so to me, again, like maybe one or two big festivals to punctuate, but then I think there is the invitation to be a station, like understand your limits, right? But then understand what you can do and be creative with that, I think makes sense. I have seen the South Node hit I think, was it Jamie Lee Curtis's chart? Like there was something hitting her chart when she won the Oscar for
Mm.
Everything Everywhere All at Once, which
Oh,
made me kind of think about old gifts or things that, maybe we didn't get before now coming back, especially if you did it right this time. And so has she like I'm not familiar with this stat, but like has she like been in like I don't know, is she in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame or something? Or like is she like I don't know, there's just like some legendary award or something that I'm thinking
right.
about, especially as a South because again, 12th house career house, it's like especially if the album's like really great, like I don't know, there can just be a different kind of recognition.
Right.
Like nothing like a Hall of Fame type of recognition when I think about the 12th house too.
She was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in
Oh,
2008.
2008.
That's right.
Okay.
I remember that now. Yeah.
So that was at the beginning of Pluto and Capricorn-ish, and then yeah, I just there's a lot about, like, the greats from the Pluto and Capricorn era getting one final rose right now, especially you see with the World Cup and soccer players who, like, came up really during the Pluto Capricorn era and now playing in their final World Cup, so, like, it's just and LeBron James, like, playing in basically what will be his last, like, team, like, there is a lot about this Pluto Capricorn, like, not generation, but I don't know, something about a final victory lap that might correspond to a different type of award, recognition, I don't know. Interesting to have, like, these crumbs out there, right? Like, she's filming a TV show that's called The Studio about Hollywood production, and Julia Garner's in it as well. There's a very meta
Very meta.
commentary, and we're going again into a year of Jupiter in Leo. And remember, this first bit of Jupiter in Leo isn't just like we're in the nicest stretch of Jupiter in Leo as much as chaos is, still in the wake. But when the South Node moves into Leo, that's when things shift a little bit, right? And
Yeah.
so you can kind of then think, okay, well, August eclipse season, we've got a solar eclipse in Leo coming up that's hitting her Leo sun, like almost to a T, like 3 degrees off. But you're introducing a new story into the mix. And it's like, to me, what new story is there left realistically? And especially in such a storied career like this. So you only have so many options really. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's just interesting.
I really hope we get a really good documentary or docuseries. I mean, I can imagine that so many people want to make it, and she's probably approached all the time about
Mhm.
it.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, we've never had like a really good official documentary or docuseries or anything about her life. Nothing official.
I would love if Lourdes did it.
Ooh.
I would love if it became a creative collab between the both of them to continue the mother-daughter story, but
Okay.
as like a rapper perspective, just because I think of Lourdes and that North Node in Libra, Mercury Libra, Sun Chiron in Libra on Madonna's Jupiter. I can't think of a better person that would be able to tell a story in that way, and that Madonna wouldn't feel maybe as like protective over, you know what I mean? Because it's like you don't know me like that. I don't know, she said recently what, like, she has too big of a budget, her life is too expensive for there to be a budget. I just was like, the ma more Mars and Taurus, I mean, this is the material girl we're talking about, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, there's something about artistic partnership that, I don't know, Lourdes could be quite interesting in these discussions, but you never know.
Yeah. Before we head out, I wanted to ask everybody and anyone watching or listening, sound off in the comments. But if you don't have 5, you can just give me one. It doesn't, you don't have to give me, but if you have top 5 Madonna songs, what are your top 5? If you had to pick, what are your top 5 Madonna songs of all time?
Oh man. I think Dress You Up is a bop. I know that it wasn't like necessarily one of the lead singles from Like a Virgin. It was a single, but it was kind of like a secondary single to
The video had like a live, it was like from live. You always know like a single's late in the album cycle when the video is like the live version.
Yeah. But I love that song. And I think it really displays like her more edgy like vocal prowess. Like she's kind of almost like screaming in the chorus. Like there's like a grit to her voice. I also think Live to Tell is an incredible song. I really like Oh Father from Like a Prayer. I'm a big fan of like her little like one-off songs that she's done for soundtracks and things like that. So I know that Who's That Girl was the lead single from Who's That Girl, but I like Causing a Commotion. I think that song's really cool.
Yeah.
And I also love Get Into the Groove.
Classic.
Yeah.
There's so many though. Those are like the ones I'm gravitating toward right now.
Okay. Very good.
Honorable mention though, I think Dear Jessie from Like a Prayer is like,
oh, really?
Yeah, I think that's a really good. It's very cheesy and the video is very cheesy, but like, I don't know.
That's Rosie O'Donnell's favorite Madonna song. I always think about that for some
Oh, really?
I know you don't have the backstory, and it's more of your mom's artist. But what are some of your? You said Frozen.
Oh my god, I do. Yes, I mean Frozen and like Isla Bonita will like always be on loop in my playlist, regardless of era. Honestly, like I did really enjoy Hung Up. Like I think of that song as like a very modern, like very good modern pop song that has like it's like even the lyrics and everything. It's like I don't know. I think she just has such a great way of like communicating spirituality through the lyrics, even when she's not trying to do it like that. I eat that shit up. And I mean, honestly, for me, right? Like I think about even the moment where she came out to do Me Against the Music with Britney. Not to say like that's like one of her best songs ever, but like what a cultural moment. Like, and I think of like when I think of the other modern era of Britney, she kind of like helped resuscitate also. Like, and so that song kind of plays on loop a lot. But otherwise, I mean, I can't help but like I do really like Material Girl. I think that like there's something about the way she does, again, spirituality and materiality that is very difficult for a lot of people to understand. But I think by having the spectrum of depth in her experience and what she talks about, like, I think is what makes her like truly, one of the greatest artists of all time, like befitting of that era that she was born into, of course. Yeah.
Absolutely. I love that.
Mhm.
All right, one of mine, I have them written down somewhere, but I don't know. I'll remember. Into the Groove was my favorite growing up. Into the Groove and Who's That Girl are my 2 favorite growing up. Those are songs if they come on, I turn it up, I don't skip. And then I know it's really basic, but it's another song that's like one of her best and one of the best pop songs of all time. I think Vogue is so good.
Yeah.
Like I know it's probably a lot of people's favorite, but it's their favorite for a reason. The cultural significance and like it was so queer and so out in the open. And that video, I mean, that was right before I saw Truth or Dare. So like seeing all those queer people, it was empowering. It's still an empowering queer song.
And though it was one of those songs that like she kind of released and it wasn't really part of an album cycle for her, and she ended up tacking it onto the Dick Tracy soundtrack.
Well, it was initially inspired by Breathless, so she was like thinking like, what would Breathless listen to modern day with like, at least that's what I read, that it did start out like So it wasn't totally a one-off. It was also inspired, but you wanted something that was gonna, be radio friendly and not, the rest of the album, was not necessarily radio friendly. I mean, these songs still
Mm.
did well, but not like, nothing. I don't think Hanky Panky is showing up on anybody's top 5. Maybe. I don't know.
No, but that was a single.
It was, and it did okay, but
It did.
it's not like, it doesn't really appear on like her top songs, Hanky Panky.
Yeah.
Nothing like a good spanky.
Yeah. Well,
And then for more obscure, I would say, Promise to Try from Like a Prayer is so good, about
Sounds
her
fun.
mother.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can find the demo version on YouTube, and she's crying. You can hear her crying a little bit, and it's like whole run through. It's really beautiful. Apparently, that's the other thing about her I found interesting. She's like a 1 or 2 take, one and done artist. She doesn't
Oh,
like to spend a lot of
interesting.
time in the studio because she comes super prepared. She knows exactly what she's going to do, and then
Yeah,
she
yeah.
paints it, and then she's out. Yeah,
That's how you do. That's every time I meet someone with a lot of Virgo, I'm like, listen, you already like did all the prep mentally. Like you just show up and it's all there. Like you did the prep already.
yeah. As someone with a lot of Virgo placements, including my Virgo sun, there's nothing more terrifying than not being prepared for whatever it is that I need to do. Like I can't handle it. I got to be prepared. So
Meanwhile, I fly by the seat of my pants, like all.
Yeah.
that works for
Oh.
some people,
I've been having like a stream of clients recently that they've just like been giving me the wrong birth information. And so like
Yeah.
when I'm like prepping and then I come into the session and they're like, oh my God, that's not right. And I'm like, oh my God, all right, impromptu extemporaneous session, let's go. And like, I don't know, oftentimes the message was supposed to be delivered regardless, So
Right.
mhm.
Well, I feel like we did this. Thanks for
We did
We
do
na-
it.
we
we
did
nailed
this.
it.
Yeah,
Nailed it.
nailed it. Happy Madonna release day, everyone. I'm so glad that we got to do this today.
too.
Felt like the right day to do it.
Perfect.
Thank you for including me.
Of course. What do you have going on, Tasha? Before we close out, what do you want to? What do you have anything to plug? What you?
Oh my God, do I have anything to plug? If you're in New York, I've got a few in-person things coming up. We're planning during this Mercury retrograde, so it'll start to make itself known after Mercury retrograde. But otherwise, I still have my books open. I have my 30-minute readings for Cancer season, and then they kind of retreat back to my regular type of readings. So if you're interested, little booking link is on my Instagram always. So
Awesome.
thanks.
Yeah. And Joseph, aka Glorian, you have shows coming up. What's going on for you?
July 24th, I'm playing a show at Metro Baltimore, and I'm currently working on a record, and I'm working on a couple collabs that are still like very much in the infantile stages. But yeah, follow me at on Instagram at __Glorian, GLORIAN. And I usually post about all my stuff there. It's like the only social media I really use. I don't TikTok or Snapchat or
All of it.
the other stuff. I can't. I don't have it in me.
I understand. It gets exhausting.
Yeah,
Does Madonna have a TikTok?
I'm sure.
Oh, hi.
Hi, Kitty.
This
Hi,
is
kid.
Hazel.
Hi, Hazel.
Aw. She's like been meowing this whole time. I'm just like,
Aw.
did you want to join the Madonna conversation?
I don't know where my cat is. He usually makes an appearance, but he didn't today for some reason. Probably because it's really hot up here.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
Mm.
It's probably hiding.
I haven't had my window unit on because it's too loud. So yeah, that's why I'm scantily clad. But yeah, he tends to hide when it's hot out. So
Yeah.
Oh, baby.
Well, thanks, everybody. It was so much fun. See you all later. Thanks.
Yes, thanks for having me. So
bye,
fun.
y'all.
Stay cool.
Yeah.